What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and earlier this afternoon, Matt Porter, aka ADHD Whiskey, dropped a video called If You Could Only Take 5 Whiskies. He basically made an announcement saying he was possibly moving from Colorado to Kentucky. I'm pretty sure he got hired to be the master blender from Bardstown Bourbon Company. You didn't hear that rumor from me, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. He nominated me specifically, reached out to me specifically, and challenged me to take on this video. You don't believe me? Roll the clip.
If you have a whiskey channel out there and you're watching this, I double or triple damn dog dare you to make a video challenging yourself to narrow down your collection.
I'm talking to you, Bourbon of the Week.
So there you have it, indisputable evidence of Matt challenging me to do this. So we're going to take this head on. There are 3 criteria that this must meet. It must be a very expensive bottle, something you wouldn't want to buy again, maybe you overpaid for, or have some type of sentimental value to it. It also must be relatively full. You can't pick a bottle that's empty, because why would you take a bottle if you could only take 5 and it was empty? So let's get into our list. Everybody knows before we get started. Time for the traditional sip. Cheers. Heaven help. So I was thinking long and hard about these bottles. I literally stared at my shelf for 20 minutes. The hardest part about what I have going on here is all of the bottles that I really love, everything that has sentimental value to me, is pretty empty. 1, I've either shared it with a bunch of friends. 2, I've shipped samples to Patreons. Number 3, I've drank it myself. So it was tough to pick 5 bottles that were relatively full and still meant something to me. I'm not doing this in any particular order from bottle 1 to bottle 5. I basically did it, and the order that we're going to go in is the easiest to take all the way down to the toughest one that I had to think about the longest. So number 1, the easiest bottle that was in my collection that I know I'm going to take with me if I go anywhere, is Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. And let me tell you the sentimental reason behind this, and we're going to get the sad sob story out of the way, but I will tell you this has a story behind it, and that's why I'm taking it with me. So I recently lost my father-in-law, and I'm going to try and keep this together. I recently lost my father-in-law to esophageal cancer. We knew about it. We knew it was coming. We knew he only had a few months left. And before he did pass away, this guy, he was a bartender for a long time, and he's just one of those guys that was always looking out for everybody else. He knew he could get his hands on some bourbons being in New Jersey, me being in Pennsylvania, so he said, Chris, put together a list for me. While I'm out and about, I'll do some shopping for you. I obviously didn't want to put a bunch of unicorns on there because I knew I didn't want to send him out to spend a bunch of money or do anything while he's going through everything that he's going through. So I put together a list, a couple easier bottles, a couple harder bottles as well, and this is what he came back with. I wanted him to be able to choose. I wanted him to make the decision, and he got me Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, which is an absolute fantastic pour and a must-have in your collection. So long story short, he grabbed this bottle for me. He got it from New Jersey. He gave it to me. He said, what do you think of this bottle right here? I said, best bottle that you could have picked up. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'll ever open this bottle, at least not for a long time. I'm thinking a very special occasion. My stepson's 21st birthday. Perhaps me and him can pour one for his grandfather. Maybe my daughter's 21st birthday, although we have a lot longer for that. But this Evan Williams Bottled and Bond will always be in my collection. Even when it's gone, I'll make sure to keep the bottle because it's just something that I won't get rid of. That's enough of the sob story, though. Let's get into bottle number 2. The next bottle that I decided to go with is Stagg Jr. This is batch 17. This is the last bottle that they're coming out with before dropping the Junior and going just to Stagg. I had to add this to the collection. Stagg in general, the Stagg Jr. in general, the batch 14, was one of the first unicorns that I had in my collection. That one's a little bit lower, so I didn't want to add this because this is 5 whiskeys you can take with you if you could only take 5, and Matt says that they have to be filled. So this one, closer to the top here. I absolutely love Stagg Jr. Again, being one of those first unicorns. I remember hunting it. I remember finding it on the shelf at the time. This one was an allocated drop on the PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits website, and we all know how tough it is to beat the bots. So just knowing that I beat the bots, I got the last Stagg Jr. before they dropped the Junior means something to me, maybe not to everybody else, but at the end of the day, I got this at MSRP, which makes me believe that it means that much more. Let's get into bottle number 3 and see what we got. Cheers. So bottle number 3 was another easy one for me. This is Widow Jane Lucky number 13, and let me tell you a little bit about myself before I tell you why I picked this bottle. Whenever I get in a car and I turn the radio on, whenever I watch TV, I have to have the volume set to a 0 or a 5. You might be an evens person, you might be a 2, whatever it is that you set your volume to, I'm a 0 or I'm a 5. Now this is a dilemma when 10 is too low and 15 is too high, so everybody's like, just set it to 12. Don't put it to 13, obviously. But then, my daughter was born on the 13th. Lucky number 13. This was gifted to me by my brother on my daughter's birthday. Because she was born on the 13th, he ended up grabbing me this bottle, and I love everything about this. I don't think Widow Jane gets talked about enough on WhiskeyTube, on any reviews really. Everybody had their original review on the 10-year. I think it's priced a little bit high. I don't disagree on that, but this particular bottle has a spot in my heart, and it always will. So because of that sentimental value, you can see I haven't reached for it too often. For a 6-month birthday, I obviously had a glass, and for a 1 year, I'll probably have another. I like to share this with family, definitely my brother whenever he comes over for special occasions like that. But because of that, it has a special spot in my heart. And if you haven't tried Widow Jane, even the 10-year, the 13-year, there's a 15-year as well, which I have a sample, and I actually want to do a blind of all of them for a video. But this Widow Jane 13, I think, is the best one out of the 3, although that price tag can get a little bit tough. But this was another easy pick. The last 2 were a little bit tough, but let's get into bottle number 4 of 5 whiskeys that I would take if I had to choose 5. Cheers. So bottle number 4 I thought about for a while. I looked on my shelf, I looked at my old fits, I looked at my Midwinter's Night Dram, but I decided to end up on Wilderness Trail, and let me tell you why. I've been on YouTube now for almost 2 years, which is crazy to think about, and this was one of the first collaborative videos that I did with Straight Up Bourbon. I sent them Wiggle, they sent me this Wilderness Trail bottled in bond. We did like a craft distillery video together. It was a lot of fun to do, it was a lot of fun to edit, and this was when I was really big into editing and learning all my editing techniques. I'll link it above. I apologize now for production value. It wasn't quite as good as where I'm at now, but this Wilderness Trail does have a special spot in my heart because it just reminds me all day, every day about the people that you meet in this community, how awesome everybody is. Everybody from Matt at ADHD Whiskey, from Jason, the Big Guys Junkies, you got Grease that are all doing Matt Madness right now, all the way down to the little guys like me, to everybody in between. Stuff and Whiskey, Bourbon Van, the Bourbon Judge, Multicasking, Black Bourbon Family. There's so many people that I've met along the way that I would not be where I am without them. I'm sure I missed a few. I'm sure I missed a lot. But this bottle reminds me it's all about the people that you meet in this community. So I've met so many awesome people. So that's why this bottle is coming with me as bottle number 4. And bottle number 5 that I'm going to put on this list is my Elmer T. Lee, and let me tell you why. This is one of the first unicorns that I personally went out, I hunted, I found it at a reasonable cost. I got this at $70 in New Jersey. I've seen it twice since then, both times in Maryland, one for $400, one for $500, and it just reminds me all of the time of how lucky this game is. When you're out hunting for bourbons, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees you're even going to find the bottle, let alone at a cost that makes sense to you. And there's nothing better than the thrill of actually going out and hunting a bottle, checking it off your list, and finding it yourself. I have a Weller Foolproof. It's a little too empty to put on this list as well, but a buddy found that for me and offered it to me. Not saying that's any less special, but to go out and find it yourself, have something on your list, being able to check it off. And again, Matt mentions these aren't my favorite bourbons. These aren't the best bourbons that I have in my collection, but to me, they all have a special spot in my heart, and they all deserve to be on my 5 whiskeys I would take with me if I could only take 5. But listen, thank you, Matt, for putting this together. This was an awesome idea. I had a lot of fun sitting here thinking about this. If you have a YouTube channel, he's challenging everybody to do this, so make sure you do it. Make sure you tag Matt. Make sure you let him know that you're doing it. If you don't have a whiskey YouTube channel, comment in the comment section below. Let me know your 5 whiskeys that you would take with you. This would be a lot easier if I only had 15 or 20 in my collection, but with 175 to look at, these are the 5 that I picked. But that's where I'm going to leave you for today. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. If you want to help support the channel financially, check us out on Patreon. That link is in the description below. If you want to come chat with us 24/7, we have a Discord with almost 200 members. Go click that link. Come join us in Discord. Chat with us 24/7 about your 5 whiskeys. And as always, please don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all. Click that like, click that subscribe. Did I forget that? Cheers. So good.